What's up, party people? My name is Sunny Ray. This is the Sunny Ray Show. This will be our, I guess, third and final interview for the day. Today I'm interviewing Russ. So we're going to talk about how family office money actually thinks. This is from a man who learned risk with a rifle, a chainsaw, and a farm before he ever touched a portfolio. Russ is the managing director and portfolio manager at NCP Digital Family Office in Victoria, BC. He's a British Army soldier, a BC logger, Salt Spring Island farmer, then 25 plus years through every tier of Canadian wealth management. Scotia McLeod, Dundee Goodman, and finally a multi-family office whose clients can own the firm itself. His shop's contrarian bet AI is infrastructure, not software, and the constraints are power, compute, and water. So help me bring on Russ. Hey, Russ, how's it going?
Pretty good, Sonny. Yourself?
I'm doing great. So I guess in your words, tell me, what are you guys working on? What's your role here at this family office that you work
At
at? Yeah.
the family office. So I joined NCP just coming up to 7 years ago, and my role here is both as a portfolio manager, but also to help grow the firm from being because our roots are as a single family office to become a multifamily office. Bring on more client families and introduce them to the services that we've provided for our principal family for quite a few decades now.
Yeah, I'm really interested in, just kind of peeling that back and obviously double clicking on the thesis and what you're seeing out there with AI and all. But for me, I love starting with the person's background. I just find, or else everything just falls flat. So you
Yeah.
joined the British Army in 1973 and served 5 years. So what pulled you towards soldiering as a young man, and what is the kind of like the one lesson from those years you still use every single day?
Uh, the irony is that there was four of us went over to join up, but we actually went over to join the Royal Navy. Um, we'd been cadets together. Our fathers had all been in the Navy, and we wanted to join the Royal Navy. Got over there. Navy said it was going to take 6 months. Next day, we said 6 months, going to be a lifetime. We're 18 years old. Next day, went down to the Army Recruiting Center, and 6 days later, I was in basic training. Lessons, perseverance. You know, um, the Army was a lot of fun. I learned a ton. You learn how to deal with people of all types. You learn different cultures. You learn um, preparation, process, because like any undertaking, I mean, those are some of the key things that bring success. Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance, as one of my basic training officers said, and it carries through.
I like that. So Russ, before we touch a single portfolio, every Friday you end your market letter with a song.
Yeah,
Why, and what's this week's track?
haven't picked it yet. I'm actually leaning towards La Reine by Les Cowboys out of Quebec, sung by Sarah Dufour, just because it was sung at Louise Arbour's induction as the Governor General. Just
Nice.
try and tie it into something that was newsworthy. I try and mix it up. I've done everything from classical to hard rock. I've had a trend lately tending more towards hard rock, kind of at the request of one of my clients, um, who would be a fan of The Doors, Led Zeppelin. 10 years after, go through the list, which is kind of my genre anyway. So
So after the army, you came back to British Columbia and worked in the forest industry. What did that world teach you about risk, cycles, and hard physical work that no finance textbook ever could?
uh, I was actually working in the forest industry. Started working in the forest industry at the same time that I was running the farm on Salt Spring, because the farm we actually built from nothing. It was bare land. It had, actually, most of it had already been logged, so there wasn't timber to take off. Um, but you know, forestry and logging is a dangerous occupation, and you're dealing with risk, like the army. You're dealing with risk all the time. You have to learn how to manage it. Um, you have to put the systems in place where if something does go wrong, um, you're not left stranded. You've got something to fall back on. You've got a known process to go through to mitigate whatever issue has come up, and hopefully, and systems also prevent um, things from going sideways in the first place.
You also operated a family farm, I guess the one you just mentioned. Was that the
Yeah,
one in Salt Spring Island?
on Salt Spring. Yeah, yeah.
So what does running a farm teach you about capital, patience, and the things you simply cannot control?
It is um, the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. The Because you can't control the weather, you can't control the markets for your produce. We started the farm from nothing, so we built it all. We cleared land, built barns, built a house, raised a family, and I was brand new to it. I was a I was a city kid, and so had to learn it from ground up. Uh, and you learn, once again, it is planning, it is preparing for all eventualities, making sure that the equipment and the tools that you're using are well maintained and within reach. Something that you learn quickly when your fences fall apart because you didn't do the job right. You're chasing sheep into out of the neighbor's fields, with an irate neighbor phoning you up. Uh, it's just learning those life lessons. It is um, understanding that you've got to build whatever it is you're building. You've got to build it right from the start.
And then you didn't enter the investment business until the mid 1990s, right? I guess well into your adulthood. What made you walk into finance at an age when I guess most people are kind of settled into a career, and how did people react?
Um, we had By that time we'd sold the farm, and the family had moved up to the Comox Valley. We were living up there. I was still working in the forest industry. Um, and I just developed an interest. I talked to my own financial advisor and decided that this was interesting. I'd like to give it a go, and I did. And being stubborn, I stuck with it because it's anybody that's ever worked in finance knows it can be a hard business to get a start in. Um, I mean, it's a very entrepreneurial business. I had entrepreneurial experience before with the farm and that, but it is a completely different business. You are starting from scratch. You have to build your own book. You have to, find clients, hold on to them, the usual stuff. And But I was stubborn and decided I was going to do it, stick with it, and did. Perseverance goes back to perseverance again.
So take us back to those early Scotia McLeod years in Victoria. Was there a mentor, a client, or a moment that kind of convinced you that you could build a life in this industry?
I don't think there was any one. I think that the most enjoyable part of those days and today, that it hasn't changed, has just been dealing with clients. It is because I've had clients for over 30 years. You I mean, you develop a pretty deep relationship. You understand them, and that's the key to this business. And I would say that my prior experiences, whether it was the army, farming, forestry, actually equipped me well for what I believe is the key to this business. Whether it's as a family office, a portfolio manager and advisor, or somebody working at the retail level in a bank. If you can't relate to the person across the table, you're going to have a hard time building trust and building that relationship that's needed to help steward them through the financial jungle. You're
And
on
then you
mute
ran
there.
you ran a branch, right? And you were responsible for teams of advisors. What
Yeah,
did leading other advisors reveal to you about how this industry actually treats clients?
good question. I think that depending where you sit on the food chain, I think the advisors themselves, in my experience, respect their clients. They work hard at earning the trust that's needed to succeed in this business. I think that the further up the food chain you go, higher to the top, it becomes a numbers game, um, which puts downward pressure on the advisors, to meet those metrics that they're judged by the firm. And I would argue that, yes, this is a business. Everybody has to make money. Um, there's no argument about that. But I would say that a lot of the KPIs that we use to judge advisors by at a corporate level are the wrong ones.
Are you able to expand, like what some examples of those KPIs might be?
It is very much numbers driven. How much have you brought in assets? What's your turn? How much have you earned for the firm? And those are important. I'm not going to dispute that, because, as I say, we run a business. It needs to be profitable. We need to make a return to our shareholders. But to judge an advisor solely on that, I think is misplaced. What is the actual client experience? Go back and talk to the clients. Is it and look at what the processes and that the advisor is providing to his clients, his or her clients, and is it actually moving the clients forward? Those I think are equally important. And if you meet those, if you can meet those KPIs of client satisfaction, client success, um, what however that's determined, and that's very much individual to the client. If you can satisfy those KPIs, the other KPIs should take care of themselves.
Super interesting. Yeah. Why has board and community service been such a constant alongside the day job?
Giving back. We're all part of a community. I've been on a number of boards. I can't count the number of boards I've been on over the years, starting right back on my farming days on Salt Spring, on the Farmers Institute, which was, as it says, it was an institute for farmers. We did a lot of work in the community, fall fair, whether it's fall fairs or lobbying government and things like that, to advance the needs of the farming community. To today, where after 6.5 years on the board of our community college, Camosun, I've been sitting on the foundation board for the college for the last number of years. But it's giving back. Um, I was giving back to the farming community. I was a Rotarian for a number of years. Did a couple trips to Haiti. Again, it's giving back, and we get a lot. We've done well in our lives, and I just feel it's important to give back.
So in September 2019, you announced you'd moved your practice to NCP and said this time it's different, right? So what was different, and what had you seen by then that you couldn't unsee?
It was it was a couple of things. One was the culture of the firm. It was once again it was moving the KPIs from being totally numbers driven. What's your assets under administration? What's your reduction? All those things, to what is the client experience? How are the clients benefiting from us? Um, the other was, part of my motivation, also was the opportunity for a significant equity stake within the firm. that was more important to me than, because it is a, it's a standard practice within the industry when people are doing competitive recruiting to offer a signing bonus based on assets or revenue. Uh, in my case, I was more interested in, didn't take a signing bonus because equity in the firm and being an owner and being a true partner in it and being able to build something unique was more important to me.
NCP's stated belief is that essentially that wealth management has been product dominated for too long. When did you first realize the product machine was working against the families it claimed to serve?
Probably early in my career, and if we go back to the when I started in the industry in the early '90s, the the retail, if we split the industry in two between institutional, corporate finance, and retail. The if you go back in time, the retail side of the industry was really a sales arm for corporate finance, and that that culture hadn't totally left the industry when I started. The industry evolved since, and that's to a larger degree not so much the case. But it really was, um, that drive to sell the next product. And this, and as I'm saying, this was back in the '90s when I first started in the industry, um, which didn't necessarily take into account the client's best interests. There may be a new product that fitted with a client, but it really was, here's the latest IPO, get it out the door, um, and it's a competitive industry. People, a lot of people in it like to compete. It didn't always engender the best behavior.
Really interesting. So can you walk me through the moment the family office model clicked for you? Kind of like the idea of being a, a customer of financial products, or sorry, yeah, instead of like a seller of them. Like, what does that flip actually change for a family?
Yeah, um, I think that change for me happened earlier on in my career, very early on. The move from commission based to fee based, built way of building an advisory practice really clicked with me because really I felt that you had to be product agnostic, which we certainly are here at NCP. You had to do the proper work beforehand, doing the planning for the family. We we build our starting point with any family, whether it's our principal family or a new family coming on, is is the financial plan, and we use a goals based approach to it. Um, J.P. Brunel wrote a book, Goals Based Wealth Management, probably 25, 30 years ago now, which is a bit of a Bible to us, but it is identify the goals that the family or the client has and build a portfolio unique to each one of those goals because they're all different. If you have a current income need, that part of the portfolio that's going to service that is very different from your legacy goal, whether it is philanthropic or the eventual dispersion of your estate. Or you may have other goals around education. It could be I want to buy a business in 5 years, or I have a business that I'm going dispose of. So building it around those goals first, and then doing the roll up. That also allows you to actually understand where the family and where the client is coming from, what's truly important to them, um, and the conversations that you have become much deeper. Which I think, when you're trying to give the best advice to a client or a client family, you really, I mean, you've got to dig down. You've got to dig down. You have to understand, what's truly important to them, um, both from values and from what their goals are. They all roll up together.
Was there ever like a failure, a loss, or I don't know, like a client situation that fundamentally changed how you build portfolios today?
Yes. Early on in my career, I had a client that was very keen on. It was gold at the time, and then when it worked for a short period of time, and then when it didn't, it didn't. And I realized that you have to, if the client is making a mistake and not built and not aligned with the way that you're going to the way you manage money, then it's not a good alignment, and that person should not be a client. Um, some people, you know, we are true believers that the plan comes first. Identify the goals, understand the client's values, build it from there. Build a portfolio that will service those goals. It is not, you know, the I've got to get SpaceX or Anthropic or whatever because it's going to go to the moon. Maybe it will. Maybe it belongs in the portfolio or part of that portfolio. Maybe it doesn't. But it all goes back to that initial planning. Um, and so one of the great things about the do-it-yourself platforms is that those clients that are stock specific, investment specific. I want this because it becomes a bit more of a casino, and I understand that. That's fine. That's what that is there for. We're here to build and steward intergenerational wealth.
So for people who've never seen the inside of one, what does NCP Digital Family Office actually do for a family, and what does the digital in the name really mean?
The digital refers to the digital delivery of services. Um, it doesn't refer to Bitcoin or crypto assets. It is, we're building the family office on a digital platform, which is the way of the world. But we started down this road a number of years ago. I like to think we are a little bit ahead of the curve there. The and really what we do for the clients is, and I'll go back to my earlier comments, is getting to understand what our clients' values are, understanding what their goals are, putting together a financial plan that addresses those, both from an investment point of view, tax planning point of view, um, and also accommodates their values as well. I integrate ESG, environmental social governance factors, into my portfolio management. I look at it as a risk management tool as much as anything else, but it also aligns with a lot of our clients' values. Um, and then it's the ongoing care and maintenance of that. It's also making sure that we align with their other professionals. We don't do do accounting or tax prep in house. We farm that out uh, to outside firms that have more expertise. Um, Same with legal matters, but our job is also that of a gatekeeper, because people with any amount of wealth will undoubtedly be inundated with calls about the next great deal or the great fund. Our job is to be the gatekeeper and assess those as they come through as well. I think, one of the greatest things that we provide to our clients is time. Um, all those things that it takes to manage wealth take time and expertise. I like to think that we have the expertise, but we also provide our client with that most valuable commodity, which is time.
NCP grew from serving a single family into a multi-family office where clients or client families can become owners of the firm itself, right? So why structure it that way, and what changes when your client is also a shareholder?
It aligns everybody on the same um, it is an alignment of interests. So as the because the family owns the firm, we are working directly for them, but we're also shareholders as well. So we have an alignment of interests to make sure that the firm is properly well run. We're doing a good job for all of our clients because they're all shareholders. And I would argue that the true definition of a family office, because it has become a bit of a buzzword these days, a bit of a marketing term, but the true definition of a family office is that it's owned by the family. And if it's not owned by the family, it's not a family office.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. So your firm's DIG plus strategy makes a contrarian argument, essentially that AI behaves like infrastructure, not software, and power, compute, and water are really the main constraints. So can you take us inside that thesis?
Yep. Um, Part of it is, we look at basically the electrification of everything. And it's not just, the data centers that are have huge demands for power, but it is cars, buildings, go through the whole gamut. On the AI side of it, it truly is infrastructure. I mean, we are integrating. It's early days yet, but we are starting to integrate AI into our processes. I'm a firm believer that it is a productivity enhancer. We've certainly found it in our practices. And it allows us to automate more processes. Doesn't necessarily kill jobs. I think that just makes people more efficient. But the investment thesis for us behind that is, let's provide the picks and shovels, rather than actually go for the gold. Served Levi Strauss really well during the California gold rush. I mean, that's the apocryphal story. The So we look at on our private equity investing, because we are direct private equity investors. Um, we we bought a company that manufactures power transformers about 3 years ago. Um, and these aren't the power transformers that you'll see hanging off of a pole. It'll be at a factory gate, at a mine site, at a data center, because this is the bricks and mortar of the AI industry, and that's where we see the future for probably at least the next 15 or 20 years, because this trend is not going away. AI, for all of its challenges that it has, is not going away. We need to deal with it, and so we will be there on the bricks and mortar side.
And NCP, essentially backed that view with a significant private investment in transformer manufacturing.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, selling shovels in the AI gold rush. So how does a Victoria family office end up owning a piece of the electrical grid story?
Well, we actually have team members in Quebec as well, and our lead on private equity, Mario Jacob, has a good pipeline, a good source, and this was a company that we came over. Generally, on our private equity side, we are often the succession plan for founders, and this was also the case here. And what's in this particular case, the founders are still very much involved and still own a stake in the company, and are key to its still key to its success. So we were able to bring in more capital, a good platform. The founders were able to monetize part of what they had done up to that point, but are still very much involved and very key to the future success of the company.
You mentioned the digital part doesn't apply to crypto and Bitcoin, but Bitcoin specifically, does it come up in your family office conversations,
Oh
or
yeah,
how do you and the
yeah.
family, how do you guys think about it?
We we look at it as a hedge. It's interesting asset class. I would, some people would take the view that it is, it'll be the future of currency. I'm not quite in that boat yet, but it is an interesting hedge against U.S. dollar or other fiat currency. So we've taken small positions, which we tend to hold as opposed to trade. I would look at it. This is really interesting because I would put it in, from our philosophy, in the same bucket as gold as a hedge against currency debasement. Having said that, I still have a bit of this. I've always taken the view of Keynes that gold is a barbarous relic. Certainly not been that in the last well up until a month ago, in the last couple of years, as we've seen people once again taking it as a hedge against debasement of fiat currencies.
So Russ, help me land this plane. Project, I guess, 10 years out. What does wealth management for Canadian families look like in 2036, and what role do you want NCP to have played in getting it there?
Wealth management will continue its evolution to be more holistic. So advisors, whether it's in the family office space or the retail space, will need to have the tools to better understand their families. More of it will be done digitally. The infrastructure that supports the advisor will certainly be more digital, be more on. I won't say online because that's because it won't be online per se, as you would see something on the internet, but they will have the digital tools to make themselves more efficient. They will should be able to deliver a much higher level of service to clients going forward. The relationships will deepen. For the retail sector of it, a lot of that will become fully automated. It'll be a plug and play model for the retail clients. So I think that at that segment of the marketplace that it has less wealth, it'll be very much automated, probably through the banks or some of the Wealthsimple type providers. In the family office space, it's going to be much deeper relationships. It'll be much more global, because the opportunities for global investing will continue to expand.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Russ. Maybe hang back for a minute. Where can people learn more about the firm? Are you also sharing thoughts on LinkedIn? Do you have a blog as
Yes.
well? I mean, like our interviews?
We have our webpage, www.ncpdfo.com, and there's an insights page in there which has our thoughts. I publish every week, so there's something new that comes up there. But I also cross-publish it to LinkedIn, so they can follow me on LinkedIn as well. And every week I'm publishing it's called The Week That Was. It's got my thoughts on the market and global events that have just happened, plus a song. Don't forget the song.
Don't forget the song. Well, I can't wait to hear it. Well, Russ, you're too kind. I learned a lot. Thank you so much for your time. I also see we have quite a few people listening live. Thank you all for tuning in. And until next time. And like I said, Russ, just hang back for 1 minute. And I'll bring this stream to an end.